Hello everybody, John here, and today onto the garage I'm fitting the reversing camera onto my Jaguar XK8 convertible. Hi all! A little while back I did a series of videos talking about this unit. It's called a Carpuride W904. And it's a smart screen, and I was that impressed with it, I decided to do a semi-permanent install on the car. Don't get me wrong, I can unclip it from the dashboard and it leaves no marks. That unit is also capable of acting as a reversing camera, and I got the slightly more expensive kit but included a camera. So today I'm going to install the camera on the back of the car. If you have a coupe, you have some options, including at the base of the rear window, at the top of the rear window, giving you a kind of view of the boot lid. On a convertible, less of an option. All but the very earliest cars like mine will have a high level brake light on here. You could mount it on top of that if you wished, but I don't have that brake light, so I don't have an easy way of hiding the wires by going into that casing, and I don't actually think it's going to suit me anyway. I want a true reversing camera just for going backwards. My rear view mirror is fine. So what I've decided to do is to mount the camera underneath the plinth, as it's called here. This looks a bit different on later cars. It has a button in and is often chrome, but essentially they're all the same design and shape. And there's a little recess back here for your fingers. And my thoughts are, if I mount it in here, it's out of the way. It's mainly out of the way of the dirt and muck that comes off the road. It's got that sort of downhill look that I want to keep the rain off it and to give me a good view of what I'm actually doing going backwards into parking spaces. So step one, I'm just going to hook it up to the screen and mock it up and see if I like the image. Okay, so there's the screen. I've put the ignition on. I've hooked up the wiring just literally over the top of the car. So we've got our camera feed, and I'm able to switch to showing you the image that's actually being collected and displayed on the head unit in a second. Now there's a wire coming out the back of this which won't be in my way when I fit it properly. So I'm just trying to get the angle right rather than how far back it is. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, with that completely central, I can see the bumper. My range of visibility is only a couple of, well, it's about 3 feet. So I might want a little bit more range. But that's going to work rather well. If I take the rear bumper out of view, see my bicycle coming into view back there. Front wheel of my bike, I would say, is 12 foot, maybe a little further away. That's going to work well. Now that's in the middle. The only compromise there is it's in the way of the actual, what would you call it, handle. If I offset it to one side, I don't think you'd notice, I can achieve very similar angles. Okay, so this has taught me enough that I know it's definitely going to work well here. The finessing I might leave until I get closer to making that final decision about drilling holes. Okay, to get to the back of the plinth, we need to remove the boot lid liner and you also need to remove your strap that is used for pulling the boot lid down. Take the little leather strap off. There we go. Then we just need to remove the pop-in trim clips. I've got this Razzie tool. Bit of tugging and leverage from behind will do, but use plastic tools, you'll scratch your paint. Or a a proper trim tool like this, and I've put masking tape over the bits that touch the bodywork, but they're just fir tree clips. They're likely to fall out and escape, so try not to lose them. I'll put a link to something similar to these, if not the same one, in the description below if you want some. They're a very nice tool to have. Sort of thing you don't use all the time, but when you do need to do a job, they speed things up so much, and of course you break less clips, if any. I don't think I've ever broke any with these. And there we are. For anybody wondering what this loose and unused connector is, my early car, as we said, doesn't have a high level brake light, but very oddly, it does have the wiring. Another of those secrets of the XK8. You're looking up at the boot lid, and the plinth has the number plate lights in it. So grab hold of the connectors. On the back of the black part of the connector was a wire clip. If you can get at the wire clip and push it away from you on both sides without losing it. There we go. Little wire clip comes off. Put that in my magnetic parts container. And then off comes the electrical connector. Same on the other side. So I'll pull that one off too. And then you've got 4 8mm nuts holding the plinth into position, which you're going to need to undo. Sort of little shoulder nut. Oops. Just give the bolts a little wriggle, because age will have stuck things into place. Easing down and towards you, you can remove your plinth. On my particular car, I have this ugly arrangement with a stack of plates. So this is a plate mount here with ASPI cars on it, which is relevant to where the car came from. And then it's on top of another number plate mount, and that's loose. So whilst I'm sorting this, I'm going to sort that out. It does need new plates. They're oxidized and they're bowed. But for now, I'm just going to get rid of a couple of layers of number plate mount before I go any further. There we go. So that hinges up, that hinges down, and out come our bowed plates. I don't know if you can see how distorted they are. Really not sure why that's happened, but yeah, very distorted. So this plate is clamped with the 2 screws, but the frame behind it is just held in place by the fact that this is touching it. I think the original one got damaged or rotted out, and they've had to stack it all up to make it work with the black frame that they've found. I love this sort of thing. You can call it automotive archaeology. I've never been behind the number plate on this car. Even though I've always hated the plates, I just never got round to sorting them. I've always had other more pressing things or more interesting things to deal with. The front is the same arrangement and is awful. So I'll probably take the opportunity, whilst I'm doing this, to order a couple of plates, and we'll put fresh plates on my car. So that's off, and as we can see, that was not held in place at all, and yet it's got screw holes in the right places. So this is a Jag frame. They do have that sort of frame, cars of my era anyway. So that is correct, but why have they fitted it like that? Those two screw holes are not original, that's for sure. I have got a chrome plate mount for this. I think I'm going to fetch it out of the garage and just have a look to see if I like it or not. No, too blingy. Don't like it. So, save that for another project. Might look okay on the front actually, because there's bright work on the front, in the bunny teeth, etc. But the back, I think I might just clean that up, possibly put a bit of lacquer on it. Okay, so this is the plinth on the bench. Here's the recess. Yeah, the only issue with the recess is you've got to have it down, and tilting it back up is a bit of an issue. I'm going to go for here. Now this is the wrong side in terms of the wiring. The wiring's going to come down the driver's side, but obviously it only makes a 6-inch difference. But the reason I'm choosing it is you've got this little recess here to pop out your number plate light, which effectively narrows this surface here, whereas on the other side the notch is on this side. Squeeze that in, and it's just the lens that comes out. And you can see why these aren't desperately bright, because we have a body coloured interior. Not so, I think, on the chrome plinths, because that would be a chrome interior on those particular cars. But yeah, I'm going to go here. I did consider putting riv nuts in to make it a really elegant solution, but in doing so I'm also creating a small gap for the head of the riv nuts, which is going to make it stand off a little bit, which is going to collect rubbish. So I've decided to actually use the 3M pad that came with the camera from Carpuride. So I'm just going to get a bit of alcohol spray, give that 5-10 seconds. That'll just take any body wax off the painted surface. Incidentally, it's a nice bracket on these. It's got the click detents, so it does stay where you put it. There we go. And before I fit this, it's got a notch in the back for the wire to come through the foot. I want to put a hole in here to facilitate that, to show me where that notch is. Then I'll use a little half-round needle file to finish that notch off. Yep, that fits nicely. There's a little foam gasket on the back here. Tease it off, don't want to break it. There's a witness mark here where the edge of the hole is that the number plate lights poke through. That says I've got enough space here to pull the wire in through. Yeah, there's a hole there, so my wiring's coming through here. It needs to come out with the light. I could actually put a hole in the side of this pocket and make it very neat rather than trying to get a loop. Yeah. So we're going to go through the side of this pocket here, in the bottom, through there, along the stem of the lamp. So I'm just going to clean that root up with my file so there's no sharp edges for it to catch on. So I made a little channel there. Next, I'm going to pop a little hole in the back corner of that. That's great. And of course, our hole's got to be big enough for the connector to pass through. So what I'll do is put the whole cone drill back on and come at it from the other side. And we'll just enlarge that until we've got access. So I haven't actually drilled a bigger hole. I've just moved the drill around because it was so snug. There we go. If I through there, there we go. That's going to be nice and neat. That can now sit back there. Time to fit the little 3M pad. So let's stick that on the foot. Oops, nearly got it wrong way around. The base plate on this mounting bracket is actually very slightly recessed to accommodate the thickness of that pad. How cool and detailed is that? I'm going to mount this as close to the back edge as I can. But not covering the aperture for the number plate light. Now we've got this all sorted out. I'm going to put the wire through the gasket. There we go. Put the gasket over the lamp. Nice and neat in the back of there, if we're going to see that. And then I'm going to put a cable tie around here. It won't come off because the base of the lamp holder will stop it sliding off. Beautiful. Really pleased with that. Simplest things amuse me there. Now we can put this little lens back on. Like so. We have a mounted camera with discrete wiring that affects nothing in terms of waterproofing. Very pleased. I'm a bit snug here on the wire here. So I'm going to have to relocate the wire to the side. Okay, so off camera, I've just filed a groove round into this recess from my top pocket. And I'm going to put the wire through that, and I'm going to use, rather than a cable tie, I'm just going to put a bit of tape on it, just to save thickness. This time, folks. Beautiful. Straight in. And I'm just going to pop the 8mm nuts on the back to clamp it down, make sure there's no fouling. On the top. Perfect. My number plate will be somewhere like that. In fact, if I use the original mounting holes, oops, it'll be exactly there. Absolutely fine. At this stage, I'm just going to re-hook up the camera around the outside of the car. Make sure there's no issues. Nothing's got damage during fitment. And now I'll go and turn the ignition on and switch you guys back to... What's that big... Oh, it's the wire. Right, what's that big post in front of it? The cable from the camera. That's not a bad view. So my feet are, I'll say 3 feet from the back of the car there. So what I'm going to do, I think, is a little experiment and some adjustments. I'll use the number plate as the guide and say, to see the number plate currently, it's got to be there. And in the other view, you can see exactly where that is. I'll go for a little adjustment. Slacken off the pivot bolts a touch. If we go down another notch, the number plate can move to there. One more notch. Number plate can move to there. That's pretty good. Let's see what one more does. One more puts the rear bumper in view. That would mean you can see literally there. So if I back it to the next notch, that would mean when something disappears, it's about 8 inches away. And if I want to know, let's use this white rag, how far back I can go, there, that gives you that range. And so if you're setting up as a rear view for driving, that would not be good. Too short. But as a pure reversing camera, which is what I'm after, I'm going to lock it in that position, and we'll see how it looks when we've finished the whole install. Now in my settings for the camera, I've got reversing line calibration, and what you can do is move these around wherever you want. I'll be able to play around with these and set them so I know what distances the red, amber and green are representing. Right, I think I'm going to leave it there for now, guys. The next step really is for me to route the wiring, which I'll do a little video on, because I will have the rear seat out and the console out and look at all that and making sure that we don't get a break in the wiring where it goes for the hinge in the mechanism for the boot lid. Whereas I also want to order up some new plates. This is probably a good moment to say thanks very much for watching. I'm off out for a ride on my bicycle, and I'll see you guys real soon. If you're enjoying our channel, then don't forget to subscribe and click the little bell icon so you get notifications of new videos. And please give us a thumbs up or thumbs down, and you can share the videos. And below the video is always the area where you can comment and get involved with the chat.